everybody. Welcome to number 66, the 66th Songbike Guitar Q&A live stream. What's new with you? Nothing's new with me. Got a haircut is what I did. Thanks for being here, everybody. We are doing a special Friday edition of our typically Saturday live stream because it's my wife's birthday tomorrow. We're going to go do birthday stuff. So that's why we're here on a Friday night. And I'm super curious as to how this time works for you guys. And we got a whole bunch of people already watching. And so it looks like for a bunch of you, it works great. Okay, I'm here for your questions. Number one, when you have a question, please put it in the chat with a bunch of question marks in advance. In between your question, I have an agenda. Here are some of the things that I hope to get to. Riffs you want to steal. I want to show you a cool riff from a famous song, but it's generic enough that you can learn it and then use it your own way. Guitar archery. I'm going to teach you a little something that I'm currently calling guitar archery. The chord name curse. I want to talk to you about the chord name curse. It's a big topic, and it's something I've been meaning to get to. A little segment I like to call some of the coolest musicians on YouTube. I have 4 excellent videos to pass on to you. I'll put the video links in the description of this video as soon as the live stream is over, but I can't wait to talk to you about these 4 particular performers in the videos. Of course, we have our play along song of the week. Can't wait to get to that one. If we have time, I want to talk about the first rock guitar book. Did I come across the first one ever? Maybe not, but man, it's a very early book aimed at budding rock and pop guitar players. I can't wait to talk to you about that. Of course, I have my own dumb question of the week. I hope that we can get to the final part of Stairway to Heaven and a cool exercise based on Tom Petty's song, Mary Jane's Last Dance. Are we going to get to all those things, including a student quote of the week? I don't know. If we don't, it's because you're asking such good questions, and that's how we spend our time. So yeah, so there we go. Say a few hellos. Christian from Denmark. It's already Saturday in Denmark at midnight. Gotcha. Thank you, Christian, for being here. Rock Lobster. Rock Lobster says, looking good. Who, me? Thanks, man. Live to Fly. Hello. Steve Greer. Bruce. Hello, you guys. Michael. Winston. Randy. We have a lot of states and countries represented. We have Texas, Maine, Colorado. We have Sydney, Australia, of course. Bruce and maybe Byron is watching too in Sydney, Australia. You guys, this is great. We have a poll question. So let me get to the poll question, and then I'll get to your questions in one moment. The poll question is, if you have an acoustic guitar, is it one of those plug-in acoustic electric guitars? Many of them are. In fact, I would go as far as to say the majority of new acoustic guitars being sold have that built-in pickup. So you can plug it in and play it loud. So that's my question. If you have an acoustic guitar, is it an acoustic electric guitar? If it is, did you buy it because of that? Was that a feature that was important to you? Did it just sort of come as part of the package and it's not why you bought the guitar, but everything else about the guitar was great and you thought, well, I'll take it, but that's not why you bought it? Or no, you didn't. Your guitar is not an acoustic electric because that wasn't a feature you're looking for anyways. Or no, your guitar is not an acoustic electric, but you kind of wish it was an acoustic electric. So that's this week's poll question. All right. I did see a bunch of question marks. Winston has a question. So Winston, let's jump on your question right now and get started here. Winston says, Winston, I think you might have asked this question last week and I didn't get to it. Winston says, an accomplished guitarist told me to keep my fingers as close as possible to the strings when changing chords. Do I agree? Or is it just kind of obvious? Is that a dumb question? No, it's great because it's something that we all should think about and talk about. And I definitely am guilty of letting my pinky drift away from the guitar, for example. In a perfect world, we'd have our fretting hand fingertips hovering above the strings. And many of the best guitar players whether they're famous or not famous, you can see their left-hand fingers. It looks like a little spider crawling on the strings. There's none of this stuff where the fingers are flying away. Now, having said that, oh yeah, so that is a great habit to work on. Having said that, keep your eyes open, and you'll see, especially the pinky drifting away from the guitar, even with really accomplished, terrific guitar players doing all sorts of great stuff, and their pinky is, I call it retracted. The pinky is retracted away from the guitar until they need it. And that's one way you know that the guitar player is a really good guitar player, not just that they're doing great stuff with the other three fingers, but no matter where the pinky is, when they need it, pow, it appears out of nowhere, because this is something I watch quite a bit when I'm watching any guitar players, if I'm, watch their fretting fingers a little bit. So yeah. And you gave us a very specific context, Winston, which is changing chords. So for sure, 100%. In fact, I would go as far as to say you can't do successful chord changing without keeping your fingers as close as possible at all times. And it's definitely something to work on. So let's turn your question on its head. If you're working on your chord changes, whether you're a beginner doing beginner chord changes or a more experienced player working on really tricky advanced chord changes, the same principle holds true. You got to keep your fingers close by. And the pinky's the most likely culprit to drift off, So there's a little homework assignment for you. Next time you're watching any guitar player play, see if you can find a guitar player where their fingers are always arched over the strings at all times, and no finger sort of leaves the vicinity. It's not as common. I don't think it's as common as it should be, because in principle, that's how you play the guitar. It's a crucial thing, right, to have all your fingers being as close as possible. And yet I don't see it as often as I think I should see it, right? And I'm guilty of it myself, Definitely something to think about, specifically if for some reason your chords aren't happening as quickly as you'd like, the chord changes aren't happening as quickly as you like. There's a bunch of things you can do to address that, aside from just practice. And one of them is keeping your eyes glued on your fretting fingers and almost willing them to make tiny little movements, no big movements. Another good reason to be watching your fretting fingers as much as humanly possible when you're playing, and trusting your picking hand, as much as possible. And then to memorize whatever the music is you're working on, so you don't have to look at the paper or the screen. You can keep your eyes on your left hand, Scott Rhodes points out that acoustic electric guitars are handy when you're doing home recording. You can just plug your acoustic electric guitar right into the interface. Yeah. And get a cleaner sound, right? The sound of the room, there's no microphone involved, that you've taken away a lot of the variables. Then again, I can imagine a scenario where someone really has a beautiful acoustic guitar with a really sweet mic, and they find the perfect spot to put the mic for that particular guitar. They do a little trial and error for a few minutes, and you get this beautiful, warm, rich acoustic sound. And how cool is that, So, okay. So you guys, let's jump in here, and hey, and let's just do this in the order that I mentioned this. I want to throw this your way. Maybe this will be a series. Riffs you want to steal. Riffs we should steal. Okay. You may know this song, you may not. Doesn't even matter, but it's a pretty song. Ooh, I got a fly. We have a fly joining us. Hold Back the River by James Bay. Not a new song, but considering we do a lot of older tunes here on the Songbike Guitar Q&A live stream, this is a relatively new song. Okay. So the reason I picked this out is, frankly, it was the first song that I ever came across that used this particular technique exclusively. Like, this is how the verse of the song goes. Let's call this technique tenths, because the interval between the lower sound, and the higher sound is known as a tenth. We'll talk about the music theory in a minute, but let's get into the physical stuff. I'm going to put my pick down. I'm going to do this with my thumb and my pointer finger. I got 5. See that? 5 on the 5th string. That's 5 on the A string. And at the same time, 6 on the B string. Please use your pointer and pinky. Just let's keep it simple. We're going to do this whole thing with a pointer and pinky. Is it possible to do it with pointer and ring or something else? It's possible. I get that. For our purposes, keep it simple. Trust me for on this. Pointer and pinky, okay? Pointer on 5 on the 5th string. Pinky on 6 on the 2nd string. I'll play you this slowly so you get a sense for what I'm doing. And again, I'm using my thumb on the A string, my pointer plucking up on the 2nd skinny string, the B string. And then at the end, it takes a little melodic twist. Okay. So did you notice my left hand was just keeping the same grip, just going up and down the neck, up and down the neck. For illustrative purposes, I'm doing what I said we shouldn't do. I'm taking my middle and ring and I'm bending them out of the way. Don't do that. But I want you to be able to see the fingers that I am using. So number 1, isn't that a pretty sound? It's a pretty melody. It's a nice harmony going on. Isn't that pretty? So when a student requested to learn this song a few years ago, we sat, we figured out, we watched, I don't know, we got the tab from Ultimate Guitar or something. And I thought, wow, I've never seen a song where that's the song, that's what's happening. And melodically, the singer is singing a melody that goes along with that. So literally the singer is sort of just doubling the melody on the guitar. What a pretty sound, right? Okay, so I'm calling this a riff you want to steal, because doesn't that sound good? And just take this concept, maybe for the moment, stay on these 2 strings, the 2nd and the 5th, the 5th and the 2nd strings, okay? Notice one big variable, fingers being 1 fret apart, like 5 and 6, and 7 and 8, versus fingers being 2 frets apart, like 8 and 10. So for the moment, I'm going to encourage you to write your own riff with this technique, but do it with trial and error. I don't want to dig too deep into all the music theory of what's going on here. Pick a starting place, make up something, jump around a little bit, but stay on those same 2 strings with your index and pinky, and you decide for yourself if you want your index and pinky to be 1 fret apart or 2 frets apart. Okay, just have some fun. But what a cool sound, in the description of this video, I will put a link to James Bay's video of him performing this very popular song. So in general, the whole top line there, it's all accomplished with your fretting hand, index and pinky. When it gets a little different is at that moment right there. All of a sudden now that 10 on the 2nd string, all of a sudden now the pattern changes. You pluck the 10 once right there. You pluck it again and let it slide back to the 8. Here it comes, sliding back to the 8. And ideally, at the exact moment your pinky arrives at the 8th fret, your thumb plucks that note, 8 on the 6th string. That's a pinch. I'm pinching 8 on the 6th string at the same time I'm pinching 8 on the 2nd string. I guess I'm using my thumb and my middle finger more than my thumb and my index. My thumb and my middle finger, just that intuitively feels good. Oops. So to say it again, to repeat myself, as my pinky is sliding back to 8, my ring finger is getting ready for that 6th string. As my pinky arrives at the 8, my ring finger is coming down on the 6th string, 8th fret. And that just leaves this nice little melody here. My index is ready for 6 on the 2nd string. It just goes back to 5 on the 2nd string. And then my pinky plays a last note, 8 on the 1st string. Now, that is a very pretty ending to this riff. That is like a little bonus. What I really want to get you guys hip to is this whole thing with the 10ths up above, okay? All right, so I'm calling that a riff that you should steal, that you want to steal. The final point I want to mention is why these are called 10ths. And I'm going to use I want to give you an example that's as understandable as possible. And I think I'm going to use, okay, I'm going to use the 8 and 10, right? I'm going to use the 8 and 10 as an example of why this is called a 10th. The name of that note, 8 on the, let me read this one right here, 8 on the A string, that's the note F. F is in fiery furnace. 10 on the 2nd string, the B string, is the note A. So we have a pretty low F and a pretty high A, right? Okay, the music theory that we're about to talk about, explain why this is called a 10th, it goes back to major scales. Everything in music theory goes back to major scales. In this case, I'm going to use the F major scale as the relevant major scale because, again, the name of that note 8 is F. Sounds like a good reason to me. Okay. An F major scale, F, G, A, B flat, C, D, E, F. I just memorized that. I memorized that an F major scale has 1 flat and it's B flat. Everything else is a regular alphabet letter. F, G, A, B flat, C, D, E, F. Okay, there's your F major scale. Scales go on to infinity, right? So when you get to that final F, it's not really the final F. In theory, it keeps on going, 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 even beyond what the human ear can hear. F, G, A, B flat, C, D, E, F, G, A, B flat, C, D, E, F, and just goes on and on. Okay, so F, G, A, clearly A is the 3rd note of an F scale. Got it. Okay, why is it called a 10th then? When you jump from F to A, why would it be called a 10th? This A is so high, it's in the next octave. F, G, A, B flat, C, D, E, F, G, A. It's that A out of the camera shot. See how it's out of the camera shot? When the distance is that great between your starting point and the next note, that interval, when that interval is so great, it gets a big number like 10 because A is the 10th note of this extended F scale, right? It's the 3rd note. It's also the 10th note and so on. So that's why these are called 10ths. And now, you know, there you go. There's your music theory right there. So what a pretty sound. I encourage you guys to have fun with that. There you go. Charlie Beagle says, infinity, man. What a concept. Deborah checking in from Gainesville, Florida. Deborah, I hope you got power and all the things you need to get through this storm. I know Florida, the Carolinas, is it Georgia too, is dealing with this. And a lot of people have no power. So sending thoughts out to all those folks. Okay, so there you go. Check it off a list. Check. You guys may know I keep this white paper here partly so I'm ready for anything. Partly because the camera that I'm using really likes to have something white to focus on, and it keeps the colors looking colorful, I guess, and it makes everything look good, I guess. Okay, so there you go. I'm going to check that off my list. The chord name curse. I want to talk to you guys about the chord name curse. What does that even mean, the chord name curse? This is a concept. Here's something I found. And I take my share of the responsibility for this. Very early on in your guitar progress, you began working on chords. Maybe on your first lesson or the first day you got your guitar, and you knew what A, you learned very quickly that A meant you put your fingers like that, and D meant that, and E minor meant that, and you worked hard, right? And you're still working hard on those, and that's as it should be. And I'm one of those teachers who, as soon as it's appropriate, I start reinforcing that. Here's a D chord. We're going to do this. Here's a song with a D chord. The next lesson I say, how's your D chord coming along, So I reinforce that connection. As you improve and work on harder material, as you search out your own material on, ultimateguitar.com and things like that, your eye has been trained to go to the top of the top of the line, the top of the page, whatever the case might be, and to look for those familiar things: F, D minor, G7, right? And you react. It says G7, you stretch across. It says F, and you think, oh, curses, an F chord. I got to master my F chord. But there's a problem, because often the tab that's underneath the chord name does not match your expectations. You see F, you grab an F chord, but the tab has like 5s and 6s. You think, wait, something's wrong here. So that's what I want to talk about, this chord name curse. In a nutshell, it tends to be students who are very observant, have worked hard on their chords, and now they run into this obstacle. They grab an F chord, or whatever the chord might be, but the tab is saying something. Maybe it's close to this. Maybe there's some 1s and 2s, but all of a sudden there's like a 3 where they didn't expect it, or there's a 0 where they didn't expect it. And now everything grinds to a halt. What is going on? Is there a mistake? What's going on? I call this the chord name curse. Partly because of teachers like me, you don't know what to make of this, right? I get it. You're so well trained. You just want the chord names, because maybe you're getting good at A minor and C and E and all those chords. So to break this chord name curse, where you find yourself stuck and confused, number one, you have to defer to the tab. Assuming that you have a chord name, but then you also have the tab below, you have to defer to the tab. You can't blindly grab the chord and assume that you're all set to go. That's going to come back to bite you, Some, on a case-by-case basis, that might be a good decision, but always, 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 always defer to the tab. I can give you a bunch of examples, but no matter what the examples are that I'm about to give you, the fact remains that you can't get tunnel vision. You have to defer to the tab, and your life will be better. Here's a situation that comes up a lot. You don't recognize the chord name whatsoever. D minor 7. You might say, I never learned a D minor 7. I've had students say to me, well, I stopped at that point in the song because I don't know that chord. I think, oh, but the tab is right there. Don't. It's okay that you don't know the name of that chord. You don't recognize it, but the tab still tells you. By the way, D minor 7 is like F. One way of playing D minor 7. It feels like you're starting to play an F chord, but then you leave the 4th D string wide open. Kind of a dreamy sounding chord. So always, always, always defer to the tab. Just do whatever the tab says. You might have to take a few inches of the tab, a measure or two, or half a measure or something, and assemble it. You might say, well, there's a 1, there's a 2. How can I accomplish all of that from the start of the measure, as opposed to playing one note at a time? That's another thing I've seen. I've seen students, and again, it tends to be very perceptive people. They see 1 on the 1st string. Next comes 2 on the 3rd string. Next comes 1 on the 2nd string. And it doesn't occur to them right away, hey, you can grab all those at the same time. You don't have to hop, hop, hop all the time, right? So again, I'm calling this the chord name curse. This is the flip side of it. Someone might not recognize the name of the chord, but they don't know the answers are right there in the tab, you know, what you should do with your fingers. Okay, so does this ring a bell for any of you guys? We got 33 people on a Friday night watching this. Does this ring a bell that you grab the chord that it says, but something is wrong? Or the flip side, you don't recognize the chord name, and so you feel like, I haven't learned that chord yet. So that's my advice to you. Number one, always defer to the tab. And once you do that, try to zoom out and say, okay, what is this moment in the song asking for? Can I accomplish a bunch of these notes by making one grab with my fretting hand? And that sets me up for success for 2, 3, 4, 5 notes. You know, what I don't necessarily recommend is what, and this is totally understandable, you know, a D minor 7. So you go online, how do I play a D minor 7? It's not the worst idea, but you might get a bunch of different things all over the neck. Potentially, you could get an overwhelming amount of information when the answers you're looking for are right there in the tab. Now, I know there's situations where you don't have tab, you just have the chord name. That's different. I get that. I know. Okay, so that's something I wanted to share with you, the chord name curse. We look at the chord name, and for better, for worse, we have a reaction to the name when potentially what we need to do is spelled out in the tab. Okay, you guys get the idea. The chord name curse. There you go. All right. Yeah, Charlie is bringing something up. An ultimate guitar. He says, if you put your cursor over the chord, the diagram will pop up. That's great. I hope that is. I hope that's true of everything that's ever posted on Ultimate Guitar, and that could solve the issue right there. Done. You know. Nevertheless, just in case, if there's tab involved, defer to the tab. I don't trust anything online. Well, here I am saying you can trust the tab, but put it this way: if you get the chord name to pop up, then cross-check it, right? With the tab and see what happens. Okay, Deborah does have power. She points out that she wouldn't be able to watch this without power. That occurred to me. Yeah, good. May you always have power. May the odds be ever in your favor. Deborah says she just got a power back 3 hours ago. Yeah. If anyone doesn't have power, raise your hand. Anybody? Wednesday, 2 days ago, was the beginning of I'm calling it my preschool tour. Every other Wednesday, I teach at a local preschool here in small town Connecticut, and what a blast! We have some good times every other Wednesday, and I have fun with the kids. I have more fun than they understand. I'll say, if you're not here today, raise your hand. I see hands start to go up. They kind of, I love it. It's one of those jobs where I can't believe I get paid to do it. Molding young minds. That is the goal. It's a beautiful thing. I'm sure I'll share more preschool stories. I get a furlough from the preschool in the summertime, so that's why I'm back at it now for the next 9 months or something. Okay, so my friends, keep the questions coming in, and let's move on. How about a pinky workout? I was just doing this with a student, and I was doing something like this with a student. I thought, you know what, I'm going to turn that into an exercise, because this is how I think. As we've been doing these live streams for over a year now, I often will pause during an in-person lesson and make some notes to myself. I say, oh, you know what, next time we do a live stream, I think this would be a cool thing. Okay, I'm calling this a D pinky workout based on a D chord. By the way, I strongly feel that your progress, my progress, is so closely tied to your ring and pinky, your third and fourth fingers on your fretting hand. You succeed when those fingers succeed. You progress as those fingers get more dexterity, strength, and confidence. Part of it is confidence, you know? Okay. Beginner guitar lessons is in the chat. Beginner guitar lessons is one of our moderators. Music Fan is our other moderator. Hey, everybody, you can wish Music Fan 1004 a happy birthday a day early. It's her birthday tomorrow, and that's why we are all here today. Think about Music Fan. Her birthday is changing everything. That's why we're even here on a Friday night. So please give Music Fan 1004 a happy birthday. It's my wife. That's my wife. But thank you, both moderators, Beginner Guitar Lessons and Music Fan, for being here. They're keeping us running smoothly. Okay, so here comes the D pinky workout. I'm going to stop talking for a minute and just play. Kind of pretty, right? Okay, notice a couple of things. There's my D major chord, right? Here's my pinky getting its workout. This is super significant. Take a look at what my thumb is. My thumb is in the center of the neck. It's pointing straight up towards the ceiling. One way to check to see if you're doing what's appropriate at this moment, can somebody see your thumbs? Here, you can't see my thumb. Anybody here ever play in front of a mirror? Not the craziest idea. In this case, if you were playing in front of a mirror, you wouldn't be able to see your thumb. I'm doing that intentionally. Lots of times when I grab a D chord, my thumb's up here. Nothing wrong with that. It's comfortable. My sound is good. Nothing wrong with that. In this case, I feel way more confident with my pinky to have my wrist out a little bit. My pinky's right there ready to go. Okay, so what's going on? While the D chord is in place, third skinny string, G string, fourth fret. And then I take it off and I play that note, the G string, second fret. I'm using a down, up, down, up. Then I do it with my pinky on the fourth string, fourth fret. And I lift it off. 0 becomes the open D string. I do that same thing on the fifth string, fourth fret. And then I bring it all home again on that open D string. Down, up, down, up, down, up, down. And then there's nice brush on the D chord. Okay, so you can see how the pinky's got a nice workout, but it's melodic, it's listenable, it's not... Sounds like it should be a song, right? Somebody write a song with that. Anyways, it's catchy, right? I don't know. Could be something. It could be something. I don't have a cool, sexy name for it yet. Somebody put it in the chat, a cool, sexy name. The D pinky workout. But nice though, right? The pinky's not doing anything anyways. I was surprised, and you may be surprised, how often our favorite, most common chords get modified. Often by the pinky, because the pinky often is not being used, right? Think of how many chords you know where the pinky is just waiting. C, E, A minor, right? D, of course, right? I was surprised as a young guy to find out how many songs, I'm not even talking about fancy guitar solos or improvising or something, just inherent to the song was a simple modification of the existing chord. The example I always use, C, going to C major 7, right? That was news to me. I didn't know you could just take a finger off of a C chord and keep strumming, And then from there, going on to a C dominant 7 chord, also known as C7. My pointer went back down, but then I add my pinky, 3rd string, 3rd fret, right? I didn't know that was a thing. I just thought chords were chords. What you just did right there, or what you just saw me do right there with the pinky, those are all very common ways to embellish a D chord. Maybe not in that order, but now you know all those 4th fret notes, 4th fret on this 3rd string, 4th string, and 5th string. Those are all fair game. Anytime you're ever strumming a D chord. You know, and for that brief moment, technically what you're giving the world is not a pure D chord anymore, the name technically for that millisecond. But often, especially if it's only like a quick little passing sound, often that nobody gives that a new name. It's too brief. It's not significant. If the guitarist stayed on that note for longer, then it would affect the name. It wouldn't be called just a D major chord anymore, potentially. Scott is calling the pinky finger digitus minimus manus. Is that Latin? Can you, digitus, I get digitus is the pinky, minimus meaning like minimum. What does manus mean? The finger with the least strength, the least size. Give us a translation. Music fan. Ooh, a restaurant. We're going to go. She says that we're going to go to a restaurant for her birthday, restaurant of her choosing that we rarely go to. Sounds great. I love it already. I love it. Okay, so there you go. A cool little pinky exercise. My ulterior motive is getting all of us to have stronger 3rd and 4th fingers. Hey, make up your own. You know, here's one that in all honesty, I've been meaning to write a song that uses this, an E major chord where the pinky, I'm going to try to tilt away a little bit here, where the pinky is dancing between the 2nd fret on the 1st string, 2nd fret on the 2nd string, and 2nd fret on the 3rd string. That sounds cool. I don't know. That could be something, right? I don't know. I've learned so many guitar riffs from, teaching songs, and the guitar riffs are even simpler than that. Like it might be a great riff, but once you see it written out, you think, wait, that's all. There's not much to it. It's okay that, So one of my reactions, having played the guitar for a lot of years and taught the guitar for almost as many years, don't underestimate a catchy, short, little, simple riff. If say you're a songwriter, and it's time to maybe you want to have a little signature riff to kick off the tune, a riff that you can return to later. Don't underestimate simplicity. I'll never forget, I had one of the most positive teaching experiences I've ever had, ever. I was doing a summer camp where kids were working on playing a variety of classic rock songs. We had a guitar player or two, a bass player, a drummer. I think they took turns singing, and we wrote an original song. And we had a good keyboard player in the group. And I said, hey, listen, tonight when you go home, we need a riff. This original song needs a riff. I'm just laying down the law. That's how it has to be. I want you to write the riff. Come in tomorrow. We need a good riff. And he did it. And it was such a simple melodic thing. Number one, it was perfect. I don't even remember what it was, but it's a 5-note thing that was just dynamite. It's simple, so simple. Second, for a brief moment, I felt like, I don't know, producer of the year. You ever wonder what a record producer does? That they do a variety of things, right? But I can imagine what some producers do is that, right? They look at a bunch of talented people and say, okay, here's what we need. Someone has to do this. we're going to record this song tomorrow. Someone come back tomorrow with the intro. And then someone does, and oh, it was so good. And it's funny because I have no idea if I have no idea if the student was particularly. I mean, I'm sure they wondered why. I'm sure they noted how happy I was. For all I know, they don't even remember that moment. I don't know. But to me, it's like I'm telling you about it, and this was easily a decade ago. It could have been a decade ago. I remember it like it was yesterday. Okay, there we go. Rock Lobster says, this is kind of how you operate. Rather than playing songs, you make it up as you go, practicing chords and riffs. It's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing. Why not? Why not? Okay, so Scott Rhodes says, Digitus minimus manus, little finger of the hand. Digitus minimus manus, the DMM. We call it the DMM. Hey, see, this is when they say, teachers learn from their students. There you go. Beautiful, beautiful. Yes, indeed. Okay, so you guys don't be shy. If you have questions, put them in the chat with a bunch of question marks. I don't think I've missed any of your questions. Hey, if you don't have a question, that's okay. That's okay. I have a dumb question. Ready for my dumb question? Okay, here's my dumb question. My DQ, I always try to come up with a dumb question of my own to encourage you not to be shy. If you have a question that might be a dumb question, here's my dumb question for you. You ready? Do acoustic electric guitars sound different when played acoustically than regular acoustic guitars? I mean, you got some sort of pickup installed. A lot of you guys have that plastic plate drilled in with a built-in tuner, a compartment for your 9-volt battery. Does it sound different? Could we tell? I don't know. Is it a dumb question? Kinda. But then again, I don't know. It's kind of interesting, right? Think of all the work that goes into making, an acoustic guitar sound good enough, right? They choose the wood, they create this whole guitar. Then along comes the next guy in the assembly line who drills the holes into the side and front and sticks all this stuff. Doesn't that affect the sound somehow? It must, right? It must. Or does it? I don't know. Kind of a dumb question. Is it though? I mean, I definitely have come across plenty of people who have a really nice acoustic guitar and they don't want to drill anything into it. They don't want to install any sort of pickup. I mean, that's crazy. Their choice would be to spend an equivalent amount of money or maybe more on the nicest microphone they can buy. And if they're going to record or play live or whatever, they have a $100 microphone, a $200 microphone, a $500 microphone, and they, like I said earlier, they find that sweet spot, aim it wherever the sound is the best, and that's what they do instead of having a pickup installed. No, there's my dumb question. Could I tell the difference? I like to think I could. If every other factor was the same between two identical guitars, but one had the pickup installed in some capacity, but I don't know. My Martin guitar, my Martin acoustic, you guys have seen this, a 1990 D16 Martin. I had my old boss at the music shop install a Martin pickup under the saddle after I'd had the guitar for a couple of years. And that involved swapping out what was the strap pin back here with an input jack. Did it change the sound much? I don't think so. I don't think so. But I was playing out, going to open mic nights and things like that. And I want to just be able to plug in my acoustic guitar like all the other cool kids. So I can't tell you if I heard a big sound difference. But once they get into that plastic plate with a 9-volt battery in there and stuff, I don't know. Here's my dumb question. Food for thought. My opinion is, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. I will say this. If you had a sweet old vintage guitar, it would devalue the guitar as soon as you start messing with it. It would, the dollar value, that would go down. Even if you put in the best guitar tech in your town, put in the best pickup, it's going to hurt the resale value if the guitar is some, you know, pre-war Martin, something like that. Yeah, you know. Okay, so there's the dumb question of the night. Hey, you know what? Sometimes I save this for far too late in the live stream, so I want to get into it right now. A little segment I like to call Some of the Coolest Musicians on YouTube. I get a magazine in the mail, and this magazine often opens my eyes. It always opens my eyes. So some of what I'm about to share with you came directly, from the new issue of Songlines magazine. I love this magazine so much. It goes way beyond guitar. In fact, some issues there's not much guitar in there. I mean, there's a little bit, but music from all over the world. Wow, do I discover cool stuff, such as what I'm about to share with you. So our first cool musician on YouTube from Portugal, Marta Pereira da Costa. And again, I'll put a link to one of her cool videos in the description when we're done with our live stream tonight. Man, Marta Pereira da Costa. She plays a 12-string instrument called a guitarra portuguesa, because she's Portuguese, right? Oh man, the video I'm going to link you guys to, obviously it shows her playing. Beautiful, very interesting sound. I think she's wearing a thumb pick and a metal finger pick. In the video, I believe there's also a guitar and several other instruments and a vocalist. Some of you might be aware of the fado song tradition, F-A-D-O. It's a type of a folk song. I'm not an expert, but the song being performed is a fado, F-A-D-O type of song. And there's plenty of close-ups of her playing. Man, it's so cool. Beautiful sound. I'd never heard of this particular instrument before. One of the things that is significant is there are very few women playing it. And she is breaking new ground as a woman playing this instrument. Hey, how about from Nigeria by way of London, a guitarist, singer, violinist, composer named Atanda, A-T-A-N-D-A. The music is like Afrobeat combined with sort of some soul, funky kind of influences. There's a sweet video that I'll put in the description of him doing some nice rhythm guitar and lead guitar fills as part of this overall performance. Just very, very hip and fun to watch. Here's an interesting story from Brazil. Back in April, Brazil suffered some pretty heavy-duty flooding, and this next gentleman actually took a break from playing the guitar and was doing rescue work during this time period, because I think that's kind of what you had to do because it's your community and people are suffering. His name is Gabriel Selvage, S-E-L-V as in Victor, A-G-E, Gabriel Selvage. I'm sure that's not how his family pronounces it. Playing a 7-string guitar. The videos I saw of him it's a nylon string guitar. He may play a steel string as well. Oh, beautiful stuff. And his voice is so good. Oh my God, you know, the guitar playing is enough. But if I were in Brazil, I would go to see if I could find him performing somewhere. Okay, one more in our segment called Some of the Coolest Musicians on YouTube. A remarkable vocalist. Oh man, from Java, Indonesia. Penny Chandra Rini. First name P-E-N-I. Then C-A-N-D-R-A. And then R-I-N-I. Just a remarkable vocalist. Gamelan music, G-A-M-E-L-A-N. Oh man, the video I'm gonna put a link to in the description. Give it a chance. It starts off with a guy playing a gamelan type instrument. Imagine a big metal gong, and he's tapping on it. Give it a minute. Give it a minute. It's a long intro. Wait till you hear her sing. And the other instruments are fascinating too. Oh, such interesting stuff. No guitar, I don't think. That's all right. That's all right. We can take a break from guitar and appreciate all the amazing stuff that's out there in the world. Okay, so from Java, Penny Chandra Rini. So I don't know if that's the four corners of the earth, but you know, Portugal, Lagos, Nigeria, Lagos, Brazil, yeah, Java, some beautiful stuff. We live in wonderful times, amazing times. So I will put those links in the description to this video. Hey, my friends, we are getting dangerously close, to our play along song of the week. So maybe now is a good time to do it. Let's just do it. As usual, I'm gonna try to make this intro very short. Our play along song of the night. You don't need a capo. You don't need an F chord. You don't need much. Play along song of the night from Mr. Tom Petty. You Wreck Me. All right, let's do it. I'll tell you why I chose this song. Mostly common, easy chords. We'll talk about that B chord in a second, but don't sweat. Don't sweat. Another reason I chose this song is he leaves space, which is beautiful. 2, 3, 4. He leaves space so we have time to get ready for the next thing. I just did D, A, E. That's the heart of the song. If you want something to practice right now, just practice that D, A, E, one strum on each. That's the heart of the song right there. I call this space. He leaves lots of space, which is very forgiving, especially if you're working on your chords and you need that extra millisecond to get to the next chord. This is perfect. And if you're great at all these chords, well, then add this to your repertoire, man. You're up and running in the next 5 minutes. You'll be banging on this tune. It's going to sound great. Okay. So in terms of your strumming hand, to the best of my ability, I'm going to do one strum every time you see a chord name. I'm not going to get any fancier than that. On the original recording, is there more strumming going on? Oh, yeah. But you know what? You don't have to do that. What I'm going to show you is fine. It's great. So you need a D major, A major, E major. You need a G major. He sneaks in a G major right there. You need a C major during this instrumental bridge section. We're going to learn this bridge, but between you and me, this is the least important part of the song. But hey, let's do the whole thing. So I want to talk to you about the G chord and the B chord. G, do yourself a favor, do G with your middle ring and pinky, not this way or the four-finger G. For one big reason. In the bridge, he switches very fast between the C's and the G. Like C, G, C, G, G. Okay, I know I just said the bridge is not the most important part of the song, but I mean, there's a perfect example of why it's so much easier to go from C to G if you get good at G this way. Okay, I want to talk to you about that B chord. He does the same thing, that same quick change. E, B, E, B, B. I don't know how Tom and the band did that B chord. Tom on guitar, presumably Mike Campbell on guitar. I can tell you what I'm gonna do and what I would do if I was playing in a Tom Petty tribute band. Imagine an A chord. Now instead of 3 separate fingers, just lay down your ring finger. It's okay if you touch the skinny string. In fact, I'd be amazed if you didn't touch the skinny string. Take that one finger A with your ring finger, glide it up 2 frets. Now you're at the 4th fret. That is a B chord. You're going to have to be careful with your pick. You're only going to strum the D, G, and B, the 4th, 3rd, and 2nd. And you're going to have to get there fast. This is the one part of the song that's kind of awkward, but it's the instrumental bridge. It's not, the song doesn't live or die by your ability to play that B chord. In slow motion, E, B, E, B, B. Okay, I might look pretty casual over here with my strumming, but I'm pretty good at getting all the strings I need. And my ring finger there is coming in at an angle. I know you can't tell, but the angle of that ring finger is such that it's dampening the skinny string. So I'm not worried about my pick hitting the skinny string because I know it's going to sound like that anyways. The way I describe this is I'm putting all my pressure on the fourth, second, and third, and I'm just putting the bare minimum amount of pressure on the ring finger. I'm not even thinking about that too much. It's a skill to work on, you know. What it does, it allows your picking hand to be a little more carefree and aggressive because you're not stressed out about potentially hitting the first skinny E string. Okay, so I admit that that's not going to be an easy thing for some of you. I get it. If the whole song was full of that, I might not have chosen the song, right? But it happens literally a certain moment in the song. Okay, so let's talk about the structure, because we're going to be up and running and playing this in before you know it, you know? Okay, the structure. Here's the intro. You do that sequence 4 times. Then the words come in. Same sequence, also 4 times. See that D-A-E right there? Okay. Finally, a change. For those of you who know the song really well, this is right where he says, "Rescue me, should I go down?" It's the 3rd line of a 4-line verse. I don't know if that helps. Okay. I'm going to play this slower than the original when we do it, so hang in there, you know. That line happens twice. See, I just wrote X2, and then you're back to the heart of the song. D-A-E happens 4 times. If you're not sure what to do the D-A-E part, okay? The chorus of the song, he hits that G chord and just lets it ring. Oh, and he hits A. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm going to sing it a little bit softer and quieter. My point is, hit that G and you let it ring. And you hit the A and you let it ring. You know, it's a beautiful thing as a guitar teacher. Like, oh, there's no stress. I mean, you have to know when it's time to do the A chord, but you know, songs like this are great. So, okay, intro, verse, chorus. See that little line right there, that little black line? That means that's significant. It means don't go onto the bridge and stuff yet. See this arrow right here? That's my way of saying the whole thing goes back to this verse, not the intro, you know, those arrows back to the verse. So intro, verse, chorus, right? Typical. I mean, that's 90-something% of every song you've ever heard in your life kind of fits this form, you know. After what I just said, then bridge. Twice on that line, twice on that line. Solo section. Surprise, surprise. What is Mike Campbell, presumably, what is he soloing on top of? The D-A-E. If you're keeping track, that D-A-E happens 4 times, and then it goes back to the intro, and that, you know, it's a lot, right? I'm not going to do it that many times, because why? You know, but if you're in the Tom Petty Police, I wanted to make sure I was accurate here. Because remember, my goal for you guys is to play along with the original song. Don't worry about me. Play along with the original song, whether it takes you a couple of days of practice, 0 practice, a week of practice, a month. That's okay. Crank it up, play along with it. And you remember on YouTube, you can slow down a song, right? So pull up this video, the You Wreck Me video on YouTube, pull it up, and then you click on that thing that looks like a gear in the upper right-hand corner. Menu drops down, it says playback speed, and you can dial in whatever speed you want. Okay. After the guitar solo and more vamping on the D-A-E, you got one final verse, chorus, you know, the final verse and chorus. And then, see this little outro? They threw your curveball, Tom, in the Heartbreakers. The outro is just different. Just because they could, because why not? Okay. All right. I'm just about ready if you are. If you're curious, when he sings higher on the 3rd line of every verse, when he goes high, I go low. That's the opposite of what Michelle Obama said? Okay, so because I can't hit those high notes, and you don't want to hear me try. So you won't be surprised when you hear me go down low. I don't know, you guys. We're gonna have fun. I know that. All right, can you see this okay? I bet you can. I'm gonna try to keep my left hand in the shot here, just in case some of you, it helps you to see that. Oh, you know what? We are definitely not sponsored by Rogers Orchards cider. That won't stop me from drinking it. Not bad at all. Okay. It's a pretty fast song. We are not going to go too fast. Are we going to dial in a little distortion from the blues driver? Maybe a little bit. Let's see. Maybe a little more than that. I know the battery's going. The battery's going on the old blues driver. Okay, fair enough. We'll stick with a clean sound. In fact, I'm going to take that out of the loop. Sorry, blues driver. We live to fight another day. All right. I'll see you on the other side. Bum, bum, bum. Intro. A 1, 2, 3, 4. Tonight we ride, right or wrong. Tonight we sail on a radio song. Rescue me, should I go down? If I stay too long in troubled town. Oh, yeah, you wreck me, baby. You break me in two, but you move me, honey. Yes, you do. Now and again, I get the feeling, well, if I don't win, I'm gonna break even. Rescue me, should I go wrong? If I dig too deep, if I stay too long. Oh, yeah, you wreck me, baby. You break me in two, but you move me, honey. Yes, you do. Bridge. I'll be the boy, corduroy pants. You be the girl at the high school dance. Run with me wherever I go, and just play dumb, whatever you know. Oh, yeah, you wreck me, baby. You break me in two. You move me, honey. Yes, you do. What do you think? I didn't mean to go that fast. I got excited. It was probably that much slower than the original. Sorry, you guys. I don't know. Felt good. Okay, so I fully expect that some of you are thinking, come on, dude, do it slower. I get it. I get it. Yeah. Some of you know those chords. You just need it. It's like, someone speaking a foreign language. You'd understand it better if they just slowed it down a little bit. I get it. Some of you, I'm sure, were keeping up just fine. That's excellent. Some of you might have been keeping up just fine, but you got tangled up in the arrangement, which I fully expect, right? Because there's a lot of jumping around, And even though what I wrote here makes sense, and it's a pretty reasonable way to write it down, it doesn't mean it's easy to follow on your first try. I get that. But I bet you guys sounded great. Okay, can you see from my point of view as a guitar teacher, just banging on these chords, bang, bang, bang. Right. Hey, and Rock Lobster is talking about the lyrics of this. Can I just tell you, what a great lyric. Now and again, I get the feeling if I don't win, I'm going to break even. I love that. The Last Waltz, that famous concert documentary movie with the band called The Band and all the guest stars, right? I know I'm supposed to really love how tight the band sounds and Levon Helm's vocals and the great interplay and just, Rick Danko's vote, everything, right? My favorite part of the movie when Richard Manuel looks in the camera and just goes, man, I just want to break even. Yep. And I wish that for all of us. You just want to break even. My favorite part of that movie. All right. Hey, Charlie Beagle says, what about doing that with power chords? Totally. For instance, that B. Okay, since you brought up Charlie, this occurred to me, and I think I lost. It went in one ear and out the other. So I'll show you one option specifically to solve this issue of the EB. Okay, so instead of doing a full E chord, you do a 1-finger E power chord. Open 6th string and 5th string 2nd fret. Please use your index finger. You'll see why in a second. Play both of those strings at the same time. And there's an E power chord, right? 1 finger, perfect. The very next thing, that B chord in the bridge, just do a B power chord. Your pointer finger is already on the right note. You'll need your ring or your pinky, 4th string, 4th fret. Oh my gosh, you could actually keep that down. Okay, imagine before that, you have to get there fast. In slow motion though, start with the B power chord already in place. You could do that. You see why that works? Because the E power chord, you only need the E and the A, and you don't strum anything else. The B power chord, which I already have in place, is there in place already on the 5th and the 4th strings. So the ring finger can just wait until it's needed. Personally, I don't find that very satisfying sound-wise, and I'm not trying to get out of that other B chord. Personally, I'm not trying to get out of that. But I can't deny that musically that works. Could you do a B7 chord there instead? Remember, we're talking about the bridge, that EB thing in the bridge. Yes, you could do a B7. That's not what the band does. B7 has such a distinctive bluesy sound. Does it sound bad to do the B7? I don't think so, but it's just not what the band does. See how my middle finger stays in the same place, whether it's the E major or the B7. The middle finger's there, 5th string, 2nd fret. Yeah. So I don't love the bluesy nature of the B7 in this context, but I can't deny that. It could work, if no one yells at you for being too bluesy at that moment. The power chord thing. That would be my plan B. My plan A, remember, was my plan B would be that power chord thing. I don't know if I would leave my ring finger down. Just to be totally clear, the E power chord is the 2 fat strings, the E and the A. The B power chord does not include that 6th fat E string. The B power chord is focused on the 5th and 4th strings. There you go. Could you play the whole song with power chords? Sure. In fact, full disclosure, I have no idea exactly how the different guitar tracks are in the original version. My instinct, though, because it's such a big, grinding, full sound, someone in the band is banging on those chords like we just did. You know, I mean, why wouldn't you? It sounds so good, you know? I don't know. There you go. All right. By the way, I have a Spotify playlist. I'm just wondering if I've been keeping up to date. I have a Spotify playlist of all the original versions of all the tunes that we do every week. So it's well over 40 tunes. So you can go there and just, hear all the songs. Because remember, my ultimate goal for all of us is to play along with the original, for lots of reasons. So there you go. Okay, I'm going to check this off. Check. Hey, we did that. You guys having fun on a Friday night? What do you think? I mean, I'm curious. Would you guys in the chat, there's a few of you, I'm sure there's a few of you who this actually works better than Saturday. Would you let me know in the chat? Because I'm super curious if this works better. I'm sure it works better for a couple of you. You're like, woohoo, Friday night I don't have to, whatever. Hey, don't forget to vote in our poll. The poll question is your acoustic guitar an acoustic-electric guitar? I'm just kind of curious. And the options include yes, and that's exactly what you wanted. Yes, but it just sort of came along with the acoustic guitar. You didn't want that, but you got it. It's fine. No, it is not an acoustic-electric, but you wish it was. Or no, and you didn't want one, and that's fine. Kind of curious. Right now, you guys are pretty well divided. Very interesting. Okay. Move that on down the line. Hey, I'm going to scroll for a minute. Oh my gosh, Bruce from Sydney, Australia is mentioning that it's his son Byron's 9th birthday today. Byron, happy birthday. It's a nice time of year for a birthday. Let's do it. Let's sing for Byron. You ready? I'm going to say 1, 2. I'm going to sing happy birthday to Byron. 1, 2. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Byron. Happy birthday to you. All right. Oh, Byron, hope you have a great day. Birthdays are the best, man. They're the best. Very fun. So Bruce, I have to ask, help me out here. My wife's birthday is September 28th. Where you are in Sydney, is it the 28th yet? I think it's still the 27th in Sydney. Still, I could Google it. But my wife's birthday is tomorrow, so it's a nice time of year. Rock Lobster says these Friday night is fine, but you prefer the Saturday live stream. Randy says Fridays work better in the fall. Oh, wow. Randy says that you rehearse the Nutcracker Ballet on Saturday afternoons. Yeah, I'm sure that's takes a lot of energy. Yeah, very interesting. Hey, I saw a question. I'm going to scroll up. Okay, Bruce says, do you approach strumming differently on electric versus acoustic? Totally. Or at least there are moments when I do. Just then, when I was banging out those chords for Tom Petty there, I would have strummed those the same way on acoustic guitar. But in general, I definitely play electric guitar differently in so many ways. It's noisy. Electric guitar is so noisy. And even unintentional sounds literally get amplified, right? You might unintentionally do a pull off and all of a sudden it's coming out loud and clear thanks to the Fender, Marshall, Spark, Mini, whatever you guys happen to be playing out of, Yamaha, you name it, Mesa Boogie. So I definitely approach electric guitar, strumming differently. I do it differently on electric guitar when I need to. Getting a more controlled sound, staying in control of the sound. Yeah. I mean, the more I think about it, I don't often stop and think about it until someone asks a good question like that. When I do stop myself and think, I play electric guitar totally different than acoustic guitar. Partly because of the actual material. There's things that just make sense on acoustic guitar and things that make sense on electric guitar. But yeah, I mean, if you really want to get into the weeds, it's a whole different type of instrument. Largely because of, like I said, every sound is amplified. And on acoustic guitar, you literally have to fight to be heard, right? The acoustic guitar is not going to do anything until you make that sound happen, and you better commit to that sound. The electric guitar, I don't want to say there's more subtlety than acoustic guitar. I'd hate to say, well, the electric guitar is more sensitive, but you can make a lot of extraneous noises, unintentional noises. You can, if your touch is not light enough, it becomes really obvious on electric guitar really fast, so it definitely is a different approach for sure. Keeps things interesting, right? Keeps things interesting. A lot of birthdays. That's right. Bill Collier down in Katy, Texas. It's your mom's birthday as well, right? Yeah. and beginning guitar lessons has a birthday kid today. Beautiful. Or tomorrow the 28th. Beautiful. That's a nice time of year for a birthday, right? But all birthdays are beautiful. Okay, you guys. So we are not running out of time by any means, but now is a good time to get in a question if you have it. I'm going to wet my whistle. I'm not even thirsty. I just like this stuff so much. Definitely, we are not sponsored by Rogers Orchards, but man, is this stuff good. The pressed and bottled by New England Apple Products of Leominster, Massachusetts. Okie dokie, Smokey. So in case it's not totally obvious, I will not see you guys tomorrow. I will see you guys the next Saturday, to be totally clear. And we'll probably do this once in a while. Oh, you know what I want to show you? Okay, don't go anywhere. When I do the screen sharing thing, which I'm about to do, your screen is going to go black. You're going to, for some of you, you're going to think, wait, what just happened? Rest assured, hang in there. If the screen goes black, it's okay. Give it a minute, and just know that I want to share this cool thing with you. Let me see here. There we go. Okay. Again, if your screen goes black, it's okay. Let me get this thing here. Come on. What I'm about to show you guys, I think is super cool. And I have it pulled up. One of my students came in and said, hey, look at this book I found on the at the used bookstore. And it was such a cool book. I thought, wait a minute, let me look at that a little more closely. How come this is fighting me here? Oh, window. Okay. This is the moment where your screen might go black, but bear with me. There we go. Okay. So while we wait for all of our computers to do what they do, he brought in this book, and this is a Mel Bay publication from 1973, and it's called Rock, Blues, Guitar Groove by Tony Menke, M-E-N-K-E. So from 1973, by the way, the cover price in 1973 is a buck 50. You might say, wow, guitar books are buck 50, but I use my little inflation calculator, and this book in today's dollars would be about $10.60, which would be a steal, you know? Okay, so why am I showing you this, and why is this such a big deal to me? Let me see here. Are you guys seeing this okay? I hope you are. And there you go. It came right on. Excellent. Okay, good. Okay, so why am I showing you guys this? At some point, the publishers decide there's a market for rock guitar. You know, there are kids out there going to spend their $1.50, right? But it didn't happen instantly just because, you know, Elvis or the Beatles, you know, these books didn't suddenly hit the market, right? My understanding is that if you wanted guitar lessons in the 60s, if you were lucky enough to have a teacher in your area, you're going to get jazz lessons or classical lessons. You know, you weren't going to get someone who's dying to teach you all the Beatles tunes and all the Chuck Berry tunes, right? That's just, you weren't going to get that if you were going to formal lessons with a formal teacher, because there were no rock guitar teachers, and there were no rock guitar books. But some publisher had to be the first, right? Someone had to, you know, get in the market. Someone had to decide, hey, it's worth it for us to do this. So there's the cover, and you can see at the very, very top, it says lead guitar in quotes. So lead guitar, rock dash blues, guitar groove, featuring slide guitar. They use as many, they just threw as many terms out there as possible. Look at that cover. Isn't that an awesome cover? Again, 1973, Mel Bay Publications. So is this the first book aimed at budding rock guitarists? Probably not. Probably not. Do I love it? And is it a great book? Yes, it's so cool. So I wanted to share with you. Yeah, Debbie is pointing out that Amazon has copies. I'm going to get a copy because my student paid about $4 for a used copy at the used bookstore, and I didn't want to steal it from him, but I did scan every page. So I have it all saved on my computer, every page. And of course, there's the cover. And I want to talk to you guys more about it as I dig into it. But man, there's just a lot going on in this book. There's a few twists and turns, a big emphasis on Memphis style guitar, which I think is fascinating. The term Memphis or Memphis style is used in the book as if we all know what that indicates. I don't know. In 1973, what did that mean, Memphis style guitar? Now I would call it a type of an R&B guitar. I mean, when I look at the examples in the book, that's what I see. Like, oh, kind of country. There's like a mix between country and R&B stuff. There's a bunch of cool exercises. Not a whole lot of chit chat. Just a bunch of grooves and exercises and riffs. But so fun for me, since this is my profession here. So fun for me to see. Okay, 1973. What were they thinking? You know. Anyways, very fun book. I'm gonna get into maybe next live stream. I'll show you some of the examples. Plenty of good content. It's more how it's presented that fascinates me. Just like the name of the book. I mean, what is the name of the book? Is it lead guitar, rock blues guitar groove? Is it rock blues? And the whole slide guitar thing. I mean, they put in this, they try to cover a lot of bases. Love it so much. Okay, there you go. So I want to share that with you. Now, contrast that. I'm just going to hold this one up to the camera. Now, this is what you are more likely to see. I don't have a year on this. You guys see this? I know it's I do have the rest of the book, and the cover came off a long time ago. Okay, so this is not aimed at that same market. I don't know the exact year of this, but I have a feeling this is far more common. Can you see the set list, the song list right there? Scarborough Fair, House of the Rising Sun, Oh Happy Day. See that right there? Notes and chords. So for the record, this is called Celebrated Songs for the Guitar. Strum, sing, play melody, arranged for 1 and 2 guitars by Doc Comanda, C-O-M-A-N-D-A. NDA. This was $3.95. Although they put oh no, there you go. It's a sticker, $3.95. So you can see the emphasis on a folkier kind of song list. The emphasis is on a couple of guitars playing together, right? Chords, notes. I believe, oh, you know what? I believe that Memphis, the one I just showed you, I believe that had tab. And this book definitely does. This one definitely does not have tab. Now I have to find out for sure. So interesting. I feel like a little historian here. Okay, rock music, guitar groove, and yeah, there's tab all over the place, as well as stand notation. Okay, so there you go. I want to share that with you. So the history of popular music being presented on the guitar. As popular music changes, as tastes change, as you know, a lot of money is available. Teenagers who want to spend $1.50 on a book, publishers sooner or later adapt, you know, and it's fascinating to me to see what they did. Okay, you guys get the idea. All right, my friends. Charlie Beagle is saying, is it like Chuck Berry, rockabilly? Yeah. But with a few bluesier touches, and then, like I said, this whole thing about slide guitar happening, which is great. But I would, when you make that a separate book, you know. But this guy wanted to work in a bunch of stuff. I see his passion. He's like, look, we got to get this Memphis thing in there. We got to get this slide thing. We got to include some blues. It's as if it's as if they were giving him one chance. Okay, Tony, you got one chance. We got to sell a lot of copies of this. That's what it seems like. We'll never know. But yes, as Debbie pointed out, you can get yourself a copy of that book. Save one for me, though. I got to get my own copy, just so I can hold it and look at it. But like I said, I scanned each page with my little phone. You guys, can I give a shout out to this app that changed my life? Cam Scanner. The app is called Cam Scanner, CAM Scanner, Cam Scanner. You guys have heard me mention this before. I think you guys have some of your own favorites too. Man, what a beautiful thing. You take a picture of a black and white page and it crops it and makes nice contrast, makes it pop a little bit, and you save it, and then you can send it as a PDF anywhere. Oh, it's a beautiful thing. Those of you who do online lessons with me, you've been the recipient. I say, oh, I can send it to you right now. Boom, boom, boom. I send it to you from my phone. And I mean, I can even tell you dozens and dozens of lesson plans. I mean, hundreds of pages of material on my phone. And I can send it like, oh, very interesting. All right, you guys. Keep the lessons questions coming in. Ooh, guitar archery. Can I show you this thing I'm calling guitar archery? Love it. Ooh, and then we have to, oh yeah, we got to get this, we got to finish off Stairway to Heaven, man. And then maybe we'll get to that Mary Jane's Last Dance thing. Okay, so here's the guitar archery I'm talking about. Why am I calling it guitar archery? You'll see. You'll see. Okay. Pentatonic scales combined with up the neck chords. Oh, it's a beautiful combination, like chocolate and peanut butter. Beautiful combination. Okay. Check this out. By the way, you guys know, probably tomorrow morning, I will be time-stamping this video. Makes it really easy to come back to just the stuff that you really want to review, you know? So this diagram is one of 5 pentatonic scale shapes. Because of where it's located between the 4th and 8th frets, it's the G major pentatonic scale. Okay, that's fine. That's kind of arbitrary, but you guys know how often you need a G chord or how often songs are in the key of G. So this is not too arbitrary. Okay, so there are 5 possible pentatonic scale shapes, and this is one of them. That shape has this arrow shape embedded in it. Guitar archery. It's an arrow. Archery, get it? Okay, so check it out. We all should be practicing our scales, especially pentatonic scales. While you're practicing them and working on them and memorizing them, it's cool to know there's something in there waiting for you. Does everybody see how those 4 notes that I drew an arrow around, how those 4 notes are 4 of the notes found up there, right? You see that? It's nice to have a shape, some visual image that you can return to. Notice I'm not telling you which fingers to use, right? The exact fingers, to some extent, are going to be up to you. Although, see that ring slide right there? I'll explain that in a second. Okay, so if you took 5 minutes of a practice session, first thing you do is you get warmed up on this scale. I'm going to start with the absolute lowest sound up in the upper left-hand corner. I'm going to start in that note. 5, 7, 5, 7, 5, 7. It's going to sound like this. 4, 7. I'm using my pointer and pinky. Why not give the pinky some exercise? Second string is 5, 8. I'm also doing pointer and pinky because why not? First skinny string back to 5, 7. Okay, those are the 5 notes of a G major pentatonic scale. Played, technically I'm playing it in 5th position. I know there's a 4, but my index finger is mainly at the 5th fret. So I'm going to call that 5th position, despite the fact that I have to reach back and get 4. That's okay. That's to be called 5th position. So I just played the G major pentatonic scale in 5th position. Okay. Now, let's pretend you're preparing to improvise with this. That arrow shape is going to help me. I'm hoping it's going to help you to remember, oh yeah, I don't need to dance around kind of randomly in there. I can focus in on minimum 4 notes. I'll show you some more notes in a second, but a minimum 4 notes that are guaranteed to sound good. Here's where that ring slide comes in. I'm playing that 5 with my index, and then my ring finger, which naturally falls right around the 7th fret, I'm going to slide into the 8. Why not? Everyone loves a slide kind of sound, right? You don't have to slide, but it's a good opportunity to slide. When I first started doing sliding with my ring finger, it felt so floppy and weak. And over time, it rose to the occasion. It could stay kind of firm and hold its own, it didn't feel like spaghetti. If your ring finger does feel kind of floppy and you don't feel confident it's going to do what you want to do, that's even more reason to put it to use, Okay, so if you have a looper or just a recording app on your phone, you could record yourself doing nice, steady strums in a G chord. Just stay right there. However long you can stand to record yourself. If it's a looper, you only have to do it a few strums. If it's your phone, you might want to do it for 30 seconds, 60 seconds of just that. If it gets boring to be on a G chord, you could switch to E minor. It's a nice compliment. Get that looping around or playing it on your phone. Start improvising specifically with that thing right there. Pretty soon you're going to feel like you need more, right? You need more ingredients. That's okay. But you can use that as your starting point, right? Kind of cute. Guitar archery. It looks like an arrow. Okay. So as you know, you could continue improvising using all those notes. That's great. Let's call that plan A. But plan B, use this one as your starting point, right? Oh, before I forget, 7, 8, 7, that's a G major chord. You literally have a G major chord right there. Remember this whole up the neck concept? 7, 8, 7, that's a G major chord. It looks like a D up 5 frets. So there's a chord built into this pentatonic scale. Are you allowed to play a chord while you're improvising with the scale? Sure, if the band is on that chord. If you're improvising with a G major pentatonic and the band changes to a C chord, you don't have to, you can still use this, you can still improvise with the G major pentatonic when the band goes on to the next chord. I would not recommend strumming a G chord, right? Because that's too much. That's then you're fighting with the band. That's not going to be a good choice. Okay, so check it out. The next step, remember plan A was improvising just with that scale. That's fine. The next step, using this as your focus, and you ready? You guys know I love my Sharpies. Okay, see what I did there? The black notes are that arrow shape. See those? 5, 7, 8, 7, right? Those white notes are all these other great sounding notes, many of them from this major pentatonic, but some of them not. You know, for instance, that 8 right there, great sounding note, happens to be the note C. Sounds great. It also happens to not be in the G major pentatonic. That's fine. That's fine. The notes here that, let's call them going beyond the G major pentatonic, they are part of the G major scale. G major scale has 7 notes. G major pentatonic has 5, right? Penta. Doesn't mean those other 2 notes are off limits. It just means that by omitting those and playing just the pentatonic, you get a certain vibe, a certain sound. Doesn't mean you can't play those notes now, though. 7 on the B string, 8 on the E string. So all these white circles represent notes that are available to you, even if your focus is not on the whole big pattern, just on that little arrow right there. So you memorize the arrow, you memorize that combination, and then you memorize which other white notes are in there waiting for you as a possibility. So let's call that plan B, just another approach. There's so many ways of looking at this stuff, and this is one more way. You know, guitar archery. I like that. A little clickbait kind of thing, guitar archery. Okay, so there you go. Hey, Dan. Dan says, nice haircut. Thanks, Dan. Thanks. Okay. Music fan is showing me that I missed a question. So I'm going to scroll up. Where's your question, Scott? Where'd it go? Okay. Scott Rhodes asks, on the topic of acoustic electric, what are my thoughts on those little pickups you can slide into the sound hole? I had one of those way back when. It was a Lawrence pickup, I think. Probably wasn't good for the sound hole. It's like a metal band that you squeezed and then you released it and it stayed in place. I wonder what ever happened to that. I don't know what that ever happened. And nowadays, I think they have things that are much more gentler on the wood of the sound hole. Scott, I don't have any thoughts, pro or con. Technology has changed so much that I'm sure there are sound hole pickups that sound great. I'm sure there are. I hate to say just go by the price, but someone tells me if that a well-known manufacturer has a $300 sound hole pickup, I bet it sounds really good. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. And if it was like $29, something's not right about it, It is a way, though, to amplify your acoustic guitar, right, without drilling holes and stuff. I've seen some where the pickup is essentially shaped like a rectangle, and there's sort of foam involved on the edges of the pickup. So when you put it in the sound hole, there's foam cushioning it. There's not any plastic or metal pressing against your wood. One of my concerns would be the little cable that's like now coming out of the pickup and going down, that if you tripped over it, it could yank something and really hurt your guitar. Something tells me that that's not the ideal solution. I think if someone had a beautiful instrument and they did not want to drill holes into it, my instinct is to save up and get the best acoustic guitar microphone you can afford and get used to staying on mic. I mean, if you're recording right in your home, it's easy to be in one place. If you're a live performer and you're not going to be able to always stay right in front of a microphone, I get that. But then maybe your beautiful, precious guitar is not the one you want to take on tour, right? Such a common thing, man, for guitarists to leave their beautiful guitars at home. And when they go out, they're playing perfectly reasonable guitars, but, half the price. The example I always heard was you leave your Gibson Les Paul at home and you go out and play at the bar with your Epiphone Les Paul, which are great guitars. But to finish up, Scott, I don't know what's out there now for those soundhole pickups. And my instinct is that I bet there's a bunch that sound great. Just like the transducer style that goes under the saddle of your acoustic guitar. I'm sure that the technology there has come a long way. And then there's all these DI boxes. So whatever pickup you use, you run it, the cable plugs into a cute little box that allows you to tweak the tone all over the place. And then from there, another cable goes to wherever it's going to go, to an amplifier, to the soundboard, to the recording interface, whatever. And there's no lack of those little acoustic guitar preamps, or whatever you want to call them, processors. Michael, you're asking if I checked out Abby Gardner. I didn't do a deep dive. I remember you brought her up. I think I saw her on YouTube. Either you sent me a link to a YouTube video of hers, or I found a YouTube video of her. Very cool. I love it when you guys turn me on to people I am not familiar with. Randy, thank you. Randy has made a donation to the Sharpie Fund. Thank you. I have all these Sharpies, and I have a hard time remembering which one is dying. See, I can't quite bring myself to give up on these Sharpies completely, because each one of them works for 3 seconds for sure. And some continue to work for 6 more seconds. Some of them don't. But yeah, I could use either more Sharpies or a few bucks to buy a Sharpie. Randy took advantage of what YouTube calls super chats. And that's that $ down below. Right at the bottom of the chat, where you can click there, and you too can make a donation to the Sharpie Fund. And I thank you in advance. That's what I'm using to write all this stuff. And when I'm not buying Sharpies, I'm buying more paper or ink for my printer. Lots of like any office, right? The same stuff. Charlie asks, are there sites that specialize in music books? I'd be surprised. But you know what? It's the internet, right? So there's everything. I personally haven't. Well, I mean, I'm sorry. I'm thinking of like cool vintage old books. Yeah, J.W. Pepper, Hal Leonard. I mean, any publisher has websites, their own website. So I'm sure there's a Mel Bay website. One of my students just came in with something from J.W. Pepper, but it was a vocal. There's a church choir thing. But yeah. But in terms of like vintage music books and oddball music stuff that I get into, I personally have never seen that. I did make an extremely successful TikTok video. Let's see how many views it had. This TikTok video, if you're curious, it was simply me giving a tour of my guitar book collection, and I'll tell you how many views this has. Hold on a second here. 1,824 views of simply me with my finger. You see my finger like indicating the different books and how I have them categorized. And yeah, that's my greatest hit on TikTok at the moment. 1,824 views of Jonathan just saying, there's the blues books, and there's the country books, and there's the finger picking books, and there's the classical books, and it's a lot of books. So yeah. Yeah, Mel Bay. Scott says Mel Bay or Mel eBay. A lot of books out there. A lot of books. these old books, some of them, to me, their value is as a curiosity. They might not have material that am directly going to use in my teaching, but I love to. I mean, at this point, I've written enough books and I've taught for long enough that I think I can see where the author was coming from. And you know, Charlie asks, who is Mel Bay? Anyways, there was a gentleman named Mel Bay from St. Louis, Missouri, and he started this publishing company. And I believe his sons, I believe there's a Bill Bay now who is in charge. I believe it's a family owned. I don't think it's publicly traded. Hal Leonard was two different guys, Hal and Leonard. So that's Hal Leonard Publications, which I think is the #1 music publisher in the States. I don't know if it's #1 in the world, but since we're on this subject, you know who's got a Hal Leonard book? This guy. Who's got a haircut in a Hal Leonard book? This guy. Very proud. For those of you who haven't heard the story, there was a moment when my book was published by Hal Leonard. If you went to their website and they're featuring, book of the week kind of thing, that kind of scrolled slowly across the top of the page, there's a moment where my book was the first one to come up. And if you waited long enough, the second book was Paul McCartney and the third book was Taylor Swift. But for a brief moment, my book was the #1 featured book on the website. It might have been a very brief moment, but I caught it. I did a screenshot, like, there's my book. Oh, it's a very cool book. I love this book. That's not me on the cover. It's some hippie with long hair. It's not me. Kind of a cool Stratocaster. You want a copy? You can get a copy. You can copy right now. Head over to www.song-bike.com and order a copy. This is the one book I have as a hard copy. I get your order. I put it in a cool envelope, send you a little thank you letter, stick it in the mail. You get it a couple of days. It's a cool book. $15, a little bit for shipping. Easy guitar, chord, and lead tricks. I won't dwell on it. But get it from me. Don't get it from Amazon. If you buy from Amazon, I get a little tiny royalty check from Hal Leonard twice a year, end of March and end of August, end of February, end of August. I get a little tiny royalty check, so tiny. When I buy these at wholesale price from Hal Leonard, and I make more money when you buy it from me directly. And I'm happy to. I love it. I love going to the post office, and it's a beautiful thing. Bunch of things for lead guitar, a bunch of things for rhythm guitar, up the neck chords. Here, I'll hold up the table of contents. I know you might not be able to read it too well. See that right there? Oh, is that focused? Look at that. Look at all those tricks. That's a lot of tricks. There you go. And of course, there's a video that goes along with this. That you access the video through Hal Leonard's website. So will I ever do another book with Hal Leonard? Thanks for asking. I don't know. I bought so many Hal Leonard books in my life. It's so fun to see my name on one. I mean, that just blew my mind. Would I make more money? Do I make more money selling my own stuff directly to you guys, my electronic books? Oh, totally. So if I did another book for Hal Leonard, it would not be for the money. That's for sure. I don't know. But I love that they reached out to me. Someone from Hal Leonard was aware of me on YouTube, and they reached out to me and they said, hey, would you be interested in writing a book? Of course I am. And the rest is history. That was my big, I didn't choose anything about this except that was my one suggestion. I said, hey, you might want to mention YouTube on the cover somewhere. So that's the one thing. Everything else they did, they chose the title, they chose everything. And the contract, perfectly reasonable contract that I signed with them. The deal is, if the book ever goes out of print, then I have permission to keep, to recreate it and sell it to you guys, with a one stipulation that I can't use the cover art. Some long-haired hippie playing the guitar. I would never do that. Anyways, But anyway, so the day will come, I imagine, when Hal Leonard has, they figure the book has had its lifespan and the rights will return back to me. And then the fun begins. You know why? Because I'm going to make a better cover and a better title and add in some extra tricks. And it's going to be great. In the video I made for the book, they specifically told me don't talk, don't say anything, just do the stuff. Well, someday I am going to redo that video and I am going to talk. Ha! I'll show them. But it was a pleasure working with them, and maybe again someday. You never know. You never know. Okay, you guys. So keep the questions coming in. Michael Fisher, are you there in the chat? Michael made an interesting point. He sent me an email, and Michael said that when he watches TV programs, movies, and so on, when he hears guitar in the soundtracks, in the scene change music, he picks up on stuff like oh, that was just a slide, that was a bend, that was a hammer on, that was a minor chord, whatever. And yeah, you guys have that experience too. I totally have that, where I hear something and somehow I recognize it. I think, oh wait, that's that cool country riff, or that's that they've got a lot of tremolo dialed in on that tone of that guitar. It's you can't help it as you make progress on the instrument, you hear things differently. So Michael, I did get that email you sent, and I agree. It's a fun thing to recognize sounds in a way that you wouldn't have recognized if you weren't pursuing a musical instrument. Yeah, it's a beautiful thing. Okay. I'm checking off a lot of stuff. Let's do Stairway to Heaven, and let's do we'll see what we have time for. I've been dying to finish this off, you guys. What am I talking about? I'll tell you as I get set up here. For many live streams now, I've been showing you guys how to play Stairway to Heaven, starting with the easiest part and moving towards the hardest part. Coincidentally, the easiest parts are at the end of the song, the medium parts are in the middle of the song, and the hardest part, in my humble opinion, the hardest part is the very beginning of the song. And that's where we are today, man. This is part 6 of 6. How do you play Stairway to Heaven? Okay. What I'm about to show you, you will need on and off for the first 2 minutes and 10 seconds. It's not the only thing that happens during that 2 minutes and 10 seconds, but you will 100% need this quite a bit during those 2 minutes and 10 seconds. It alternates with what I showed you the last time we did this, part 5. Okay, so now this is the part that everyone recognizes, right? This is the it's that part, right? It's hard. And what's specifically hard is those 3 chords. As soon as we get past those 3 chords, things get a lot easier, okay? So this is it. If you already know how to do this, then you can take a little walk down memory lane and be like, man, yeah, I remember working on those chords. Not easy. Here's the good news. Your picking hand, this is bare finger picking now, your picking hand is not going to be super tricky. But hear what I'm about to say. Please, please, please use your thumb to pluck the D string, the 4th string. Use your index to pluck the G string. Use your middle finger to pluck the B string. Ring finger on the skinny E string. Get the logic there? Ring, middle, pointer, thumb. For this intro, this page, you only need the 4 treble strings, and now each string has its own finger. Stick with this orientation and monitor yourself. Don't let your index finger jump around and do extra work. Don't let your middle finger do extra work. Use your ring finger on the skinny string, even though your ring finger is like, what? I never had to do any work before in my life. It's worth it. You won't regret it. In terms of technique, tilt your wrist a little bit. Remember this idea of you're pouring a pitcher of water in your lap, right? You want to tilt your wrist just a little bit. Your fingers, when they pluck, they should be plucking up towards your shoulder, the shoulder of your picking hand. Your thumb should be parallel to the strings. Here's what you don't want. You don't want your fingers to be sort of playing sideways. See, that looks kind of weird, right? You want your fingers essentially to be perpendicular to the strings. So I'm not going to talk too much about the right hand because I'm hoping it's going to be pretty self-explanatory. If I say play the fourth string, it's got to be your thumb on the fourth string. If I say pinch the fourth and first strings together, like at the same time, then, hold on here. By definition, if you're pinching your fourth and first strings, it's your thumb on the fourth, right where it should be, and your ring finger on the first, right where it should be, okay? So I'm not gonna, hopefully, I won't be mentioning that too much more because now you got the idea, okay? What's hard about this is the fretting hand. By the way, yeah, this is a little bit easier on electric guitar, but of course, Jimmy Page is doing this on acoustic guitar. But if you're holding an electric guitar right now, you have a little bit of an advantage. Okay, index finger, bar, the first three treble strings at the fifth fret, right? Roll over that finger a little bit onto the edge. You kind of want to squeeze with the edge of that index finger a little bit, the edge closest to the thumb. You roll that finger onto its edge. You may feel your left elbow come in towards the guitar a little bit. Your ring finger. I highly encourage you to use your ring finger. Could you do this with your pinky? You could. I think ring finger, well, either way. I always do the ring finger. I admit you could do this with your pinky. Either finger, fourth string, seventh fret. And there's the diagram right there. It's an A minor chord. Finger picking is unforgiving. If even one of those strings sounds dead or buzzy or muffled, it's frustrating, right? I get it. I get it. Nevertheless, you know, that's what's going on right there. Now, the next chord, watch out. The next chord, the E plus, E augmented is the proper name. My index finger is already in the right place. I'm not going to move my index finger at all. But watch this. Middle finger, 6 on the fourth string. Ring finger, 7 on the first string. There we go. Because I'm playing electric guitar, the note I'm plucking my thumb is a little bit loud, and I'm trying to be gentler with my thumb because I want you guys to hear that 7 5 5 7. Okay, see that grip? Now, the index finger is non-negotiable. You got to do that bar with the index finger. I'm talking about this thing right here. The middle finger is non-negotiable. Middle finger, 6 on the fourth string. I admit you could use your pinky on the first skinny string. That feels weird to me, but you could. Okay, ready? You're almost there. There's only one more hard chord. It's this version of C, bar across all 4 treble strings. Pinky up at 8. If your pinky cannot stretch that way, it could be because of your thumb placement. Your thumb, really this whole time, I should have mentioned this from the start. Your thumb has to be pointing straight up towards the ceiling, hidden behind the neck. See how you can't see my thumb? None of this. If you could see your thumb in a mirror, that's a problem in this case, okay? Check this out. Some of you, I can read your mind. Some of you are saying, wait a minute, that bar and that C, it's only on 3 strings. It's not on all 4 strings. Yeah, but how are you going to magically avoid the 4th string? So it's written correctly, but the understanding is, of course, you're going to be squeezing all 4 strings. You know, you okay with that? And the pinky note is canceling out the note that is being squeezed on the first string by that bar. Before I forget, do you guys get how the circled notes, that pair of notes in a circle and that pair of notes in a circle, you guys get how that means to pinch them at the same time? I hope so. Okay, So I'm going to play this and say the chord names, and then I'm going to play it and stop saying the chord names. A minor, E augmented, and C. So here's A minor, E augmented, and C. These are not easy chords. It's the hardest part of the song, and it happens to be the first thing that happens. Okay, take a breath, because you've earned the right to go to the easy part, easier part. Why is it easier? Look at these chords. D, F major 7, the easy F, where you don't have to squeeze the skinny string, leave the skinny string open. A minor, you made it. You made it. If you can just get through those first 3 chords, okay. See how twangy this sounds? It sounds so electric. Ooh, I did not circle the pinches. What was I thinking? Okay, that's a pinch. And again, pinch means your thumb and a finger at the same time. Okay. Okay, and these are all, I'm going to do those together. Those are all pinches. Okay, for the record, the only thing that I readily admit I'm fudging, that 0. Technically, Jimmy Page is not playing that 0. We're going to play that 0. You know why? Because what he's doing, it's not impossible, but as a teacher, I don't feel you get a lot of bang for your buck by doing this thing that he's doing. He's fretting the 4th string, 4th fret with his pinky. This is one of the things that when we did that pinky exercise earlier in this live stream, that was one of the things we talked about, you know, how the pinky can play that note during a D chord. Okay. If you want to do that, knock yourself out. My opinion is there's enough challenges in this part of Stairway to Heaven that I feel it's okay for me to give all of us a break and just play a regular D chord. It's fine. It's fine. The listener, their ear is gravitating to the highest sounds anyways, which is the 2-3-2 business. So this is my way. And here's what it would sound like his way. Hear that? It's a low F sharp connecting with a high F sharp right there. It doesn't sound bad. It's Jimmy Page. I mean, it's the right thing to do. And if you want to do it, go for it. I'm giving you a pass, man. It was a lot of years before I found out that it wasn't just a regular D. And somehow the guitar police never caught me. F major 7. I know you can't exactly see, but I'm not, there you go. I'm not touching the skinny first string with my index. In fact, I'm arching over to really make sure I don't touch it. Da do 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 da da da. 3 open strings. Just take your thumb and index the middle. It's like the notes from an A minor chord right before you put the A minor chord down. That's that right there. 0 with a slide up to 8 and then a 7 on the 5th string. I know it's hard to see. I got a little, I was running out of room. That little diagonal slash. It does not matter where you start the slide. You pluck the open A string, start the slide wherever you want. How about 4? What matters way more is that you slide firmly with confidence and speed up to 8. Does not matter whether you start the slide 4, 6, 2. It's a fast slide. The listener doesn't hear the starting point. Please do it with your ring finger. You know why? That frees up the middle finger to play the 7 on the same string, which frees up the ring finger to grab that 7 on the 4th string, because the whole thing is about to loop back and start again. In slow motion, ring finger, middle, ring finger, and then we're back into the song again. Okay? I threw a lot at you just then, you know? See how that works. Let me know next Saturday, like, dude, you got to go over that again. Or maybe you'll be like, no, I got it. Anybody can do this with practice. Some of you are already doing it. Some of you need a couple of days. Some of you, it might be 2025 before you got it going on. I get it. Hey, look on the bright side. The 5 previous times we went over Stairway to Heaven, it's all, in my opinion, it's all easier than this. This is the hard part. In fact, specifically, it's this one sequence. So if you've been doing this, you and me together, for 5 previous live streams, and you're doing pretty well on all those other parts, you don't want to be defeated by these 3 little chords. You don't want that to be the reason why you can't play Stairway to Heaven, you know? It's not easy stuff. Can you do it? Of course. You know, if I can do it, you can do it. Yes, it takes practice. Thumb placement is huge. Being confident with your middle ring and pinky is huge. Because remember, your index finger is just doing that bar. See, my index finger didn't really move at all. Actually, at the moment, I'm barring all 4 strings. When we first started, I said bar the 3 skinny strings at 5. That's not wrong. If you bar all 4 treble strings, then you're kind of set for the entire page. So I think in hindsight, that's what I recommend. Just bar all 4. Okay, there you go. We did it. Sooner or later, we'll do a quick zip through all 6 of these segments, you know, to begin gluing them together. Why? Just for the fun of it. All right, my friends. Hey, Charlie asked a question. When you watch someone play on TV, yeah, what's it? You're asking, do I have a reaction when I watch someone on TV? Can I tell if they are or are not playing? Sometimes it's tricky, man. Sometimes it's obvious because either their fretting hand is not moving, or it's doing things that don't resemble guitar shapes. It doesn't equal what I'm hearing. I'm hearing nice major and minor chords and stuff and strumming, and their hand is just sort of doing whatever the actor feels like. If I'm watching like a typical movie or TV show. Sometimes, though, I see someone's hands moving so comfortably, and I can't tell if I'm really hearing what they're playing. But my gut is that person knows how to play the guitar. They may not be playing exactly what I'm hearing, but they're faking it so well that, yeah, they're no dummies. They might not be good enough to be on the soundtrack. They might not be good enough to nail it, you know, in a take. Or maybe they can't play the thing at all, but they're clearly so comfortable with a guitar in their hands. They're faking it pretty well. Oh, you know who's coming through town? We have a little theater across the street from my music studio. Billy Bob Thornton is coming to town. We just got over Laura Linney, Golden Globe winner Laura Linney in town. Now here comes Billy Bob Thornton. Did he get an Oscar for Sling Blade way back when? Remember Sling Blade way back when? A lot of us, that was the first we'd ever heard of Billy Bob Thornton. Well, he and his band are coming through town. The fun never stops. So plenty of folks. I mean, there's who came through a few years ago from that series called 24. Kiefer Sutherland, his band came through town, and I didn't see him play, but there's plenty of people out there who are decent musicians. Johnny Depp, Keanu Reeves, I'm sure there's many more. But it is fun. You know, my poor wife, right? You know, someone comes on screen with a guitar and she knows I'm watching them, and she knows I'm going to have an opinion. She's probably like, here it comes. 10, 9. Actually, it probably gives me 5 seconds, right, sweetie? She's probably like, okay, 5, 4. And I'll be like, huh, I think he's really playing. Or he's definitely not playing. And meanwhile, she's already made up her mind, doesn't really need my opinion. But it's a fun thing to watch. That's a thing. Like I said, you guys, as you pursue this crazy thing, you know, becoming better and better at a musical instrument, you get a unique perspective. Your ear develops, your eyes develop, all of the above. You make new friends from all over the world, right? All over the world. Okay, you guys. So I don't know. We did it. I think we did what we set out to do. I checked off so many things off my little checklist. Let me just make sure there's nothing I totally forgot. There's a few things that I'm saving for next time. I'll tell you that right now. We didn't get to Mary Jane's Last Dance. We'll do that next time. Using Mary Jane's Last Dance as a cool rhythm guitar exercise. But you know what? We did what we had to do. So I'll leave it at that. Save some goodies for next Saturday. My friends, thank you for watching. Thanks for coming out on a Friday night. Yo, how cool is that? We got a bunch of people still watching, a bunch of people with who gave thumbs up. Thank you to Beginner Guitar Lessons for being here. Beginner Guitar Lessons, I took note of the song we talked about for a future live stream. Maybe we'll do that one the next live stream. He had a great suggestion for one of our guitar play-along songs. Thank you, Music Fan, for being moderator tonight. If you haven't wished Music Fan a happy birthday yet, it's not too late. Go ahead and throw my wife a happy birthday in the chat. Why not? Thanks for being here, everybody. Next Saturday, we're into October already. So we will be back at our regular time and place, Saturday, 5 o'clock Eastern time. I'm in the same time zone as New York City, if that's helpful for you guys. Eastern time here in small town, Connecticut. Can't promise a new haircut next week. I think I got one haircut in me. Could be a while before the second haircut comes. And yeah, I think we're good. You want to buy some stuff? Check out my website, song-bike.com. All sorts of ebooks and my hard copy How to Learn a Book. Buy yourself something. If you need to buy something from Sweetwater, use the affiliate link. Where's the affiliate link? It's in the description of this video right now. Click on that affiliate link and then buy something from Sweetwater, and then they send a little bit to the Sharpie fund here, the Sharpie fund and the cider fund, the haircut fund. Thanks, everybody. I hope you have a great week. My weekend doesn't begin yet. I have a handful of students tomorrow. That's okay. Oh, last thing, the poll, and then I'll let you go. Anyone curious about the poll? Here it comes. The question was, is your acoustic guitar an acoustic-electric? 38% says yes. That's why I bought it. It's exactly what I wanted. 11% said, yeah, but that's not why I bought it, but it happens to be acoustic-electric. 13% say, no, it's not acoustic-electric. I wish it was. 38% said, no, it's not an acoustic-electric, and it wasn't something I wanted anyways. So it all works out. Okay, the poll is ending. End poll. Boom. There we go. All right, you guys. That's going to do it. See you next Saturday. Have a great week. Take care of yourselves. Play the guitar. Get a haircut, you hippie. I'll see you guys next time.